let us now talk about another important term called as standard deviation. What is a standard deviation? So standard deviation tells us the overall spread of the values by giving us the average distance of each point from the mean value. In other terms, on an average, how far each point is from the mean. All we need to do is take the square root of the variance, and the square root of the variance is called as standard deviation. If the value is large, it means the data is very scattered, and if this is comparatively small, then the data is consolidated and close to each other in value. So let us understand by taking an example in an Excel sheet how to calculate a standard deviation. So let me open this one for you to calculate the standard deviation. So before jumping into the calculation part of what a standard deviation is, we need to understand what is population and sample in statistics. If you go by the definition, a population is a set of similar items or events which pertains to a question or experiment. Okay, so let us say if you are doing a research or an experiment and you are following a certain set of standard procedures in collecting your data. Maybe you are collecting your data with the different genders, collecting data from rural areas, urban areas, from cities, town, with different age groups, with different profession, etc., etc. So that data you can term it as a population, and from that data, if you remove a particular set of sample data. Okay, so if you term this bigger circle as the population, and from that population if you take few samples, let's say this is like 10,000 records, and from that you take a very small sample of, let's say, 200 or 300 records, then you term it as a sample. So there is a slight difference in the calculation of variance for population and for sample. So let us go through an example of how to calculate the variance and the standard deviation. So if you go by the formula, so this is the formula when calculating the variance when you are working on a sample data set. Okay, so if you see here, the formula is like x1 minus x bar and then the square and then addition of all that, then divided by n minus 1. Now n is again the count of the numbers. So when you are calculating for a sample, you will have to divide by n minus 1, and when you are finding the variance for a population, it will be n. So let us first find the variance for a sample. So in this case, this is our data. Our sample set of values are 1, 2, 2, 4, 6. So this is the sample set of values. So first step what we will do is we will find the mean. So in this set, what you can consider this data as x1. So this is x1, this is x2, this is x3, x4 and x5. So this data you can consider is as x. Second step what we will do is we will find the mean. So how to do that we have already seen, add and then divide by the count, divide by n. Okay, so in this case for this data set the mean is 3. So what I have done is I've written this mean over here and I've copied like the values of mean in each of the rows. Then what I need to do is I need to find the difference. So here x bar is the mean. You can consider this mean as x bar. Then we need to find the difference between x1 and x bar, as in the difference between data and the mean. So if you see here, it is this column minus this A column minus B column, as in 1 minus 3, which is equal to minus 2, 2 minus 3, which is minus 1, 2 minus 3 again minus 1, 4 minus 3 1, and 6 minus 3, which is 3. So you have received this difference value. Then you need to do the square. Okay, you have taken this x1, you have this with you, you have taken the mean, which is x bar, you find out the difference between both of them. Now you will find out the square. Okay, so just do the square of this. Minus 2 is 4. You can see the formula over here. Okay, see, so the square of minus 2 is 4, minus 1 1, minus 1 1, 1 1, and 3 9. So this you have received. Now what you need to do is you have to add that number. I'm sorry, it's over here. Yes, you have to add these numbers. So 4 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 9, when you add these numbers, you get 16. Okay, okay, so you got this value 16. Now here in this case, the n is equal to 5. Okay, n is the count of the numbers. So if you see here the count of the numbers, see, the count is 5. So n is equal to 5. But for sample, our formula is it should be divided by n minus 1. So the numerator over here is 16, which should be divided by n minus 1. N is equal to 5, so n minus 1 would be 4. So what we can do is 16 divided by 4. If you see here, 16 divided by 4 is equal to 4. So 4 is our variance. Okay, so this variance is 4. If you want to find the standard deviation, what you can do is take the square root of the variance. If you take the square root of this 4, it is 2. Okay, so here the variance is 4 and the standard deviation is 2. Okay, so this is clear. Now let us move to the second example, where we are working on the population. Okay, in this case, see, in this case we will divide it by n. So what we will do is, we had the value 16 and n is equal to 5. For population, see, for population over here, it is divided by the addition. The numerator 16 is divided by n, n is equal to 5. So what we will do is, we will write 16 divided by 5. Okay, 16 divided by 5. So the value of 16 divided by 5 is 3.2. So this is our variance. To find the standard deviation, what we will do, we will take the square root of the variance, as in the square root of 3.2, which is 1.789. So our standard deviation would be 1.789. So here we have seen how to calculate the variance and standard deviation for sample and for population type of data.